possibility that next week I will quite honestly not be able to let me what's the link? Oh, it won't let me share the link. Beautiful. Okay, anyway, I was gonna share the link in Discord to the stream, but whatever. As I was gonna say, it's occurred to me that since the new Guild Wars expansion launches Tuesday, I will probably not be streaming as much. Even though I've had a bit of a dry spell recently. Um, yeah, slowly getting back into the groove, only to realize that will probably eat up a chunk of my time. A modest chunk, because fun thing about Guild Wars is that when an expansion is released, it isn't all dropped at once. It's usually staged out over usually one initial and three ancillary phases. So the launch, second part, third part, and then finish up with the fourth part, usually. Um, of course, I took that gap through the years, so I don't know. But in whatever case, I thought I might as well top off Sunday with one additional stream because, quite honestly, why the hell not, right? So, to cap off this week, as I click back and forth, not realizing what button I need to click, we're going to hop back to the YouTube channel that totally doesn't exist. This first party, totally Joseph and Kent and everybody at DAL, you know, YouTube channel, and watch the open mic from Friday titled Strawberry Dave / open mic, where some weirdo calls in who I think is on Hoven's side. Otherwise, he rambles on about Dave Farina for a while. And yeah, let's just do it.
October the 24th, 2025. Open night, call in. We believe.
And just to clarify, the reason I say Dave's name a lot instead of Professor Dave is because I really fucking like that last name. And so it just kind of comes out. So I apologize. It may seem a little weird, but one of my favorite music artists is a man by the name of Mark Farina, major Eurobeat producer. And yeah, so it just sticks, Dave and Mark. I like the name.
Evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the history of the world. Nothing scientific about evolution. You disagree? Call in. Prove me wrong, okay?
You've been proven wrong to the nth degree, Kent. This is just a refresher course. People have proven you wrong since before I ever even remotely could comprehend any ideas that you teach. Because it's seriously from about the first points where I, as a child, realized people are lying. This stuff is stupid. Would have been when you were just getting your full-on independent ministry off the ground.
Let's see, Kent.
Having those first debates, like the radio one that you're so proud of, where she completely fucking stomped you.
Hoven Official on Facebook, Rumble, X, our own app.
And don't forget on YouTube, even though we're totally not on there.
Hoven.tv. We have Instagram and TikTok. Let's sign up for all of them. Okay. Somehow do that. Okay, here we go. 24th, Friday night. Next Friday night, Harvest Festival. Here, I have all kinds of games and activities and learn things about the Bible. I have a Bible quiz. Who knows the most Bible?
Wow. What riveting content. What incredible activities for people to enjoy.
And you get your name on the record board if you want. World famous record board at Dinosaur Adventureland. Then in November.
Please, world famous record board. I'm sorry. I don't even have a response to that. You're mocking yourself, dude.
Where we have Veterans Day, you come. If you don't have family, come on. We'll bring your family. Come down for Thanksgiving. Okay, the only people not thankful. Oh, people not thankful is the turkey. You're not thankful. But okay, let's see. Then we have special days around Christmas. Come on down. We'll have a lot of fun here. Still need somebody from Maple Park near Chicago to bring that giant tortoise down. Okay? If you're coming this way and can bring it, please.
A reminder, you don't need to mention this shit every single day. I've been saying that since pretty much day zero of following your dumbass.
I'll pay part of your gas to get here. Okay? Guys,
yeah, only part, not all of it, because Hoven's fucking cheap.
Stopped and gave us the yesterday. I should have changed that. The giant turtle stone. I got the small one. Let's see, put it back, okay? Let's see. Turbo. Let's see. Still need stuffed animals. We covered all this last night. I want to get to Dave here tonight. Okay. Our ARC is coming along great. I did not get pictures today, but it's really, guys are doing a fabulous job out there. Our 1/3 scale model Noah's Ark. Come on down, help us build. Help us pay to finish it too. We don't go in debt. We wait till we get the money and then we buy materials. Okay. Let's see. Join our 777 club if you want to give $1 a day. Oh, Mr. Nelson, who calls himself Aaron Ra, the sun god. He claims he changed his name legally.
You're still on this shit. For fuck's sake, Kent. Can you just accept that he did? Can you also not be a stubborn piece of shit by constantly using his last name, his old last name, for some damn reason? I mean, what is with this just obstinance you have to just accepting basic stuff as just reality? You think people are just supposed to just believe your magic story of bullshit like it's so fucking obvious. But when someone talks about having actually legally changed their name, a process that is not necessarily cheap and is involved, but is still pretty straightforward in most every state of the union, I believe, give or take some nuance, you wish to actively protest against it, as if your protest of it even means anything. No, you're just a stubborn child, pissed off that the man chose a pseudonym that he turned into his legal name that is far more awesome than Kent Hovend. You're jealous of the fact that you have negative creativity. That's all it is. That and you're just a petty piece of shit all around.
So I should change. It costs $35. Change mine to Dr. Kent, the science gent. I wonder if I put the doctor in there in a legal document, they'd say, well,
Ooh. See, Kent, there's a thing about name changes where you can't do stuff like that, and earned titles and the like, I think, are pretty damn universally restricted. Plus, you have to give good cause and reason for name changes. Believe me, I've looked it up as far as Tennessee goes and have worked my own arguments around it were I to ever choose such. I have not yet. And the cost also isn't $35, buddy boy. You understand, this may be a surprise to you, Kent, but it is a court process.
we got to do it now. It wasn't accredited university, but now it's official.
But look at this. Look at that. This is what he focuses on. This is what he's spending time on in his ramblings. He let alone being so self-absorbed. Just the fact that this is something to just put in there from the get-go. It's amazing, and I stress, and the guy coming into the stream this morning, slobbing on Kent's knob, is a fine example that these Hovendites literally worship Kent rather than the Jesus they supposedly care about, or any of that bullshit. And of course, as we know, the vast majority of Christians don't worship the Jesus and God constructs they have. They worship the book in and of itself, especially people like this piece of shit. But you know what, Kent? Let me make a note right here. Look up the laws regarding name change in Alabama. Okay, I got a note of that. I think we'll have an immediate follow-up stream where we do that.
If he can be God with $35. Okay, let's see. Anyway, he came up with the idea. He wanted 666 people to support his atheist movement. He said, I need 666 of you to give $1 a day. I thought, all right, that's 777. That's a more biblical number. Okay.
Yep, Zoomy, an entire process, which, especially prevalent with you being our current friend here in the chat, in that, you know, people like such as people who have a proper dead name and wish to eliminate that in a sense. You got to go through the process. It isn't just pay a fee and there you go. because a whole lot of fucking records have to be changed as well, and a whole lot of linkages between this new identity and the old one go. And that's even a process in and of itself that you would have a severe problem with, Kent, in that your criminal history includes types of things that people would choose to change names for to evade easy detection on such quick detection. And that might be a bit of a stumbling block for what you want to do. People think it's simple for trans folk. It's hard as hell for us. Yeah, seriously. I mean, the name change process, it needs to be made, like so many things in the United States, needs to be made more efficient. And no, you're not, Laura. You're right on time. Just a few minutes in, and Kent has bloviated about himself quite a bit. So pop back early. It's only like 11 minutes of streaming. Pop back to the beginning, run at a high speed, and you'll catch up in no time.
And we're getting the gospel out. You can help us join. If you want to join, call Bobby or Joy at extension 1. Dr. Dino.
Who the fuck is Joy? Where do you get these people, Kent?
.com. 9.5 years. Okay, here we go. Professor Dave explains. When I was debating for Professor.
He knows a lot about all kinds of stuff, Professor Dave explains. I love his little intro. It's so ridiculous and it's like slightly self-deprecating. You have to love it. You have to love his personality. He's actually legitimately one of my favorite people because I feel like he and I are very similar in our I just don't give a fuck attitudes. The only difference is he is far more polished than me and far more professional on all fronts. So, you know, I'm a fraction of his perfectly refined cynical intelligence. But I feel kindred spirit going on there. I also feel like were I wrong on something, he would give me the business too, so I don't want to push him.
Sir Dave, I asked him, are you related to a strawberry? He said, oh, yeah. So we call him Strawberry Dave around here. Okay.
No, you call him Strawberry Dave because you're a petty little fuck. Inmate 0645 2017.
Does anyone know how good, reliable is the Professor Dave Explains channel on YouTube? Is for the topics it teaches from Reddit. Okay. Professor Dave is more of a closeted political channel than a place to learn things.
No, it isn't. Scientific fact is put in videos and then ancillary videos where he will talk about the status of things. And here's the thing you need to understand, Kent, is that science and basic human rights and religious belief or lack thereof are things that shouldn't be political. But they have been made political by you nut jobs who wish to dominate every aspect of reality. So getting mad at somebody for bringing up the very situations that you idiots yourselves create, get the fuck over it.
Every video I've watched of his, somebody else wrote this, okay, has incorrect information, blatant lies, subjective opinions presented as fact. I don't know about his math. I guarantee you there are hundreds of better channels to learn from. He's got an undergrad BA degree in chemistry.
By the way, I'm doing the name change thing look up now with a quick ChatGPT skim. I'm not going to go into all the legalese on it. I'll trust AI enough.
That's about it. Why does he call himself professor? David James Dave Farina is known online as Professor Dave, is not a professor in a traditional academic sense. He holds a bachelor's degree in chemistry from.
And I should note that ChatGPT is actually going through the process, even though I asked it like such as if Kent was going to change his name to such and such. So I'm hoping down the line it gets into the complications. But it is going through all of the processes.
Carleton College, an MA in science education from California State. But he has not earned a PhD or held a formal professorship at a university.
Yes, there we go. That's at the end. And no, I've not been ignoring what Kent says. Kent, we've been through this. The fact that Dave has a Rate My Professor page, which honestly I should look up, but again, I'm lazy and I also shouldn't need to jump into his business on his behalf. Not to say he can defend himself, but as a matter of It's not my business to dive into his business, and I trust him on what he says on those regards and what he has shown regarding that. He has a Rate My Professor page, meaning he has educated in a formal upper education facility. You have precisely fuck all, except literally teaching kids, homeschooled idiots, in your former house on Cummings, one of your many former houses on Cummings Road, a house next to 29 Cummings. By the way, Kent, are you allowed within 500 feet of that property? Because I'm pretty sure you're not.
But he can call himself Professor Dave. Aaron Rock can call himself God. He has taught chemistry.
Also, Aaron picked the name because it kind of sounded cool and alluded to the Amun-Ra concept, part of which is the considered some of the origins of the Abrahamic God. And you are taking it way too literally because you do not understand metaphors and symbolism.
I have taught chemistry and other subjects at the college level, including lecturing in organic chemistry at an accredited university. So they invite him in as a guest lecturer to teach a lesson, and now he's a professor? No, that's not how it works, Dave. Come on, change your name. Just call it Dave, explains, okay? Here's what he said. Evolution by natural selection is an observable fact. Really. Let's let him talk here for a minute. And if you have questions, we'll take you first, okay? But I tried to start the program with something slightly controversial. There we go. That's why I got the red shirt or orange, like the bull cape in front of the bull. I know they can't see red, but it's still fun to pretend.
Okay, here we go. Let's begin by stating that evolution by natural selection is an
Thank you, Zumi. And if you're a convicted PDF file or someone who evades taxes, you can't have your name legally changed. Ooh, spicy meatball. Which reminds me, let me go on and pull up our friend ChatGPT. ChatGPT, what you doing? All right, load you potato wagon. Come on, there we go. Do y'all want me to go on and go into that now? Because I will before we get into the meat of this. It says you can change your name as many times as a judge will allow. I was thinking getting a new birth certificate or social security card. Totally. It's like 3 times so many years. I think 10 years, something like that. Canova is one of the reasons I'm hesitant to put too much of myself online. I don't need skeevy perv looking for me in real life. Yeah, seriously. That shit's creepy. And then he wants to act like we've got the problem because we want to be defensive of ourselves. But yeah, let's swap over real quick to share the tab. As you see, I asked ChatGPT, can you summarize the process name change in Alabama? Primarily, Kent Hovind changed his name to Dr. Kent, the science gent. And I forgot to put quotes there because I can't type for shit, especially on a laptop that's sitting over here. Must be 19. Don't change name as Alabama because it is a state-by-state basis. So it's going to be different for me in Tennessee. Laura down in Texas, as Kent likes to say. Zoomy in wherever the hell Zoomy is, unimportant, but it could or could not be a different state, and it's going to be different for Kent. You must not be changing your name for fraudulent purposes to avoid debt, criminal liability. You must not have a certain disqualifying criminal history, depending on county local rules, though rules vary. You got to get the petitions form, fill in your current legal name, all this shit, certified copy of the birth certificate, photo ID, basic stuff. File petition and pay fees. Fee depends on the county, but might range from 25 up to 50 or 80 or more. May also need to pay for publication of the name change, publish notice in local newspaper, and additional cost of background checks. Attend hearing if required. Most Alabama counties require, such. Court issued decree legally change the name. Like, it's not just something you do. It is a process. Then you got to update all these documents, as Zoomy brought up. Everything has to be fucking done. So you have to go through every single institution you deal with and update them on this stuff. Practical considerations for a name like Dr. Kent, the science gent. The new name you petition must not be for fraudulent purposes. If you seek the name Dr. Kent, the science gent, the court will likely evaluate, is this change reasonable? Is it misleading? Implying a professional license you don't have? If doctor implies a medical doctor or similar credential and you don't hold such a license, you might face objection. Some courts may allow nominal stage names, but others could deny if it's misleading. And Kent, in this, has acknowledged the debate over his credentials, or lack thereof, and still wants to be petulant about this. You need to update all your documents, IDs, professional affiliations, which can be more complicated when your new name contains titles or non-traditional format. Make sure you're comfortable using the name consistently in all legal contexts. Changing it again later, as possible, means you repeat the process and incur further cost and time. I'm not going further with this, but it suffices to say it's non-trivial. But of course, this man thinks it is. And let me put myself back from full screen back over to there we go. Formatted good. Format as good as it's going to be. Let's continue.
Observable fact. Expose some bacteria to
And what you mean by evolution, Dave. I do this in my seminar all the time. There are 6 different levels or stages or meanings. What he's talking about here is last one, number 6, variations within the kind. It's still the same. It's still a bacteria. I'll show you. He said, you expose bacteria.
Biotics, chance mutations lead to resistant ones. The rest die, and soon they're all
Crystal, okay, thanks for sharing. And yeah, it'd actually be something like Kuristaru. Kuristaru. Yeah, that's actually kind of funny because it would, katakana-wise, it would basically structure itself that way because you're running on the phonetics and it is effectively the same thing because phonetically my name could just as easily be spelled Kris. In fact, when I went to Texas in 2008, my friend who I helped move, his name was Chris, Kris. So, fun little things like that. And hell, when I was learning Cyrillic as a kid, I wanted to teach myself Cyrillic because I thought, man, Russian's cool. Even the early, love affair you can say with Slavic culture, i.e., Soviet era stuff. Because that's what you grow up, when you're born in '85, that's what you catch the tail end of. Ended up noticing that to spell my name, I had to pick some Cyrillic that was combined sounds, and then I learned quickly, hey, my name is missing a letter in effect. Interesting. I was a weird kid, as y'all may be able to guess. But let's keep going.
descended from the resistant ones. That's
Okay, listen to what he said. Let me play that again here now. He said, if you expose some bacteria to a antibiotic, which is what means antibacteria.
I mean, antibacteria. God, Kent, way to explain stuff. Is an antiperspirant perspire? Is that what it is?
Look at the. I want you to notice this here. Let's see.
bacteria to antibiotics. Chance mutations lead to resistant ones. The rest die, and soon they're all descended from the resistant ones.
Yep, here we go. And we already know what Kent's going to say. It's still a bacteria.
So you expose the bacteria to an antibiotic, and chance mutations make some of them resistant to. Let me get.
Ooh, if I say it with a confused and slightly condescending tone, that must mean I'm correct.
Lost my mouse. Here we go.
Could it be that the entire world is just perpetually lied to in one of the grandest conspiracies ever? To somehow betray God through this clearly observable yet somehow fictitious process? Even though the vast majority of people who accept evolutionary theory also happen to be some variety of quote-unquote Christian or, to a grander extent, theist, since that's the majority of the human population, sadly? Or is it that Ken Hovind's the only one who knows the truth and everyone's truly been caught up in the grandest conspiracy ever? Really? Really?
Here's his slide. Notice, in the original population, there were already some resistant bacteria.
Yes, that's how things work. But it would be a random case as to whether it would show or not, because the expression of that gene would be in a modest enough at a modest enough rate through the population. Look at a Punnett square. I think that's what they're called. The X and Y, the dominant and recessive things, not X and Y, but dominant and recessive traits, double dominant, double recessive in dual chromosomal individuals. For those particular bacteria, I'm not exactly sure how the genetic structure is made up. It really isn't important. All that matters is whether the gene is actively expressed or not, and whether it actively passes through to later generations. Now, granted, they reproduce by division, but that just makes things easy because that also means that once you wipe out those that aren't immune, all you're going to have dividing are the ones that are immune. And thus showing that that surviving population is going to have that trait that's going to become prominent in the resulting life. And you give that process enough times, hey, what do you know? You've got something that would be defined as different. What part of that can you people not understand that given enough repetitions of the process, you get something that can, depending on how we wish to classify it, be distinguished? And yes, you're going to bring up the crux of, well, that's just how we want to call them. That's the entire point, is that it is a gradual process and all life is interconnected through these gradual changes. And we're looking at snapshots historically and currently of branches of this process. And we've given names to these things to identify and distinguish them based on both their similar characteristics and those which are drastically different. Hence why humans are apes and humans are mammals and humans are animals. We meet all the parent criteria and continue down those sub criteria. You're not going to have birds with mammary glands, Kent. You're not going to have mammals with feathers. Okay, that isn't how that works because of when those traits developed. In the same methodology as this basic example. That's what you idiots don't get. Don't know how many times I've explained to you clowns before we just have to presume you are all intentionally dishonest fucks. Your opinions matter not, and you're quite frankly wastes of society's resources. Don't like me saying that? Well, I'm sorry. That's what every one of you Republican curs has said constantly. Charlie Kirk's dumb dead ass was praised over it constantly, and people are still getting the fucking arguments over that shit. Fuck him, fuck his wife, fuck everyone who thinks like him, and fuck you too, Kent. Y'all are fucking assholes. Idiots of the highest caliber. Yet somehow your fascist bullshit is taken over. But that's okay. The world has a way of things balancing out over time.
Okay. This is very important. Some of the bacteria are already resistant to this antibiotic you're going to add. You add the antibiotic, it kills off the ones that were not.
God, yeah, the nylonase bacteria, the nylon-eating bacteria is so fucking incredible. It's like we watched that happen. How the fuck does that just randomly pop up? But it fucking did, and that population took off. Absolutely fucking incredible, and a fine demonstration of this stuff happening pretty damn quickly in some cases. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Not resistant. And guess who gets to make the next generation of babies? The ones that survive. Right? So now
his debate with Professor Dave was the point where I realized in some capacity I need to cover Kent, and that was the impetus for like a year later for me to write my first article on the man. And then eventually I worked up the courage to start doing videos after a second article. And indeed, I still intend, recent events have delayed this, but I still intend to go through piece by piece and tear apart his intro in that debate, Kent's intro in that debate, because it was such an incredible example of how horrible he is at any of this.
population is mostly resistant bacteria. Dave, this is not evolution. This is a part of the population that already had resistance to the bacteria.
Yep, Rochester, and the greatest problem they face with their short time scale is, of course, the heat problem, which they can't even wrap their heads around because they don't comprehend radiation. Or they claim that somehow the values were changed, even though they also cry that the universal constants and all this shit are fine-tuned, so go figure with that. And when confronted with that, the best they can say is stupid jokes like Donnie did that one time of like, oh, well, they're going to have the real heat problem, in a reference to hell. Because when you realize you've been completely owned by basic science, And yes, I consider radioactive decay basic science when you're talking about things like the age of the Earth and core reality like that. All you can do is threaten people.
Yeah. You didn't create anything, nothing new. You just shifted the proportion of.
Now, Zumi, to be clear, that was it with his debate with conspiracy cats at the time, is what they went by. I forget the dude's name. I don't even know if I know it. But yeah, it was brought up with endogenous retroviruses. It was great.
The population that survived is dumb. You can do this with people. Go someplace and pick out a population. Say everybody.
Oh yeah, you were citing that. My bad. Yeah. Oh, that moment. Yep. Sorry, jumped the gun a bit.
Under 6 foot tall, we're going to kill them. Okay? And you do that 4 or 5 generations in a row, and pretty soon everybody's over 6 feet tall. Or like,
okay, see, let's go right there to that. The fact that your immediate thought was let's kill them, rather than just they don't reproduce. Those that are 6 feet tall and above reproduce. Thus, yes, the resulting children and later generations through that would be taller. That is how that works. You know who else knew those properties, Kent? Slave owners in the South. There was selective breeding done for the benefits because the slaves were treated effectively like livestock in that regard. I don't want to discuss details because it really fucking pisses me off that that very shit happened. In some cases, on the very ground I walk on sometimes. Sickening. Absolutely sickening. But that's the reality of our dark history. A history you cheer for, I might add. You say you don't, but you do. A history I'm sure you wish we'd go back to. Even though, again, you say you don't. But remember, I'm the evil socialist. I'm the horrible libtard. Just the one who wants everyone to, be given an actual fair shake in life, treated equally, treated like they deserve as human beings. Sorry, all today has been is me practicing elements of my political manifesto in stream. But for some reason, Hovind is pissing me off more than usual today. And I guess it makes for fun content for me to be that pissed off at him. I'll get to sleep tonight. And as you see, I uploaded 2 Castlevania videos. So if you want to watch some gameplay footage, just raw footage, no commentary, those are on the channel. So you see, I've been having fun and enjoying myself. But yeah, let's continue.
the Norwegians are just almost all blonde
Oh,
hair.
there he goes, bringing up the fucking Norwegians again. Shut the goddamn hell up about the Norwegians, Kent. That's your fucking ancestry. You're a goddamned American country bumpkin like the rest of us around here. And by us around here, I mean the fucking South. Of course, I'm in the cool part of the South. You're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Blue-eyed, that's where they live up there in Norway.
That's the way they live up there. No, those are the genetic proclivities. Due to natures of isolation, due to being in higher climates and thus needing fairer skin, which is going to result in blonde hair, because light skin tends to result in lighter hair colors. Not all the time, obviously. Plenty of light-skinned people with dark hair. I'm one. Well, I mean, my skin tone is actually probably a little darker naturally than would be darker naturally than it is because I don't get out in the sun too often. But that's neither here nor there. But then you'll have darker skin tones that will result in lighter hair because it's not always exactly tied together. There are separations, but either way, it does prove to be a benefit. And indeed, Kent, if you want to get into, no joke, the origin of quote-unquote white people, it's a fascinating study and a blend of 3 or 4 major ethnic groups from across Eurasia that wound up merging together to create the archetypical quote-unquote white person as we know them. Really fascinating thing, and I hope to find that video again next time I think about it for purposes of just sharing it or keeping it in some playlist somewhere because it's a hell of a cool thing to check out. It's not what I expected at all. But let's continue, because if I don't keep this on a pace, I'll be here till 9 o'clock at night.
I don't know. Probably wouldn't survive in the Sahara Desert. You need darker skin because you end up getting,
Or you just, put on longer clothes to block the sun. I mean, if you ever notice in Saudi Arabia, they wear those long outfits, and you think it must be hot under that shit. It's keeping the sun off their skin, and their skin tone is built for that kind of stuff. Yet, oddly enough, it apparently isn't. And I say built, you don't read too deep into that, Kent. I'm not saying it's intended that way. That's what worked out. Don't play word games with us, and don't make me have to step on a minefield over basic common language. The point is that you'll notice that the populations in a given area, under given stresses, under given pressures, under given conditions, with the life forms that dominate will be ones better adapted to those areas, which is what you're saying, but you're not understanding how that can later affect those isolated populations over time.
problems with your skin, sunburn. There's the real Kent Hovind right there. Okay, so
It's like he's proud of that fucking watch tan. Get a life, dude. Also, get a real watch and not that Casio piece of shit. I mean, there's appreciating vintage tech for me to use proper terminology on and not just say retro shit. You want to be a fucking retro bro over there, go for it. But dude, you look like a fucking kid with that damn watch. I got a Casio calculator watch. Wow, way to go, Kent. I mean, sorry, am I weird for noticing that, or does this man just obsess over that goddamn watch?
the lighter skinned, lighter haired people are from up north. Okay, so what? Nature probably selected that type of body to survive. I tell people, if you turn all the dogs loose in the world, in Alaska, all the dogs in Alaska, in the world loose in Alaska, only those with thick fur, the wolf type dense body would survive. The skinny body, the thin legs, they freeze too quick. They can't get enough heat. However, the thin body, like a greyhound, and long spindly legs, like a
Yeah, Conspiracy Cats donated his channel as it was to MC Toon at a point. And then went under, Culture Cats. And I wasn't aware of 8 out of 10 Cats, so I'll have to check that out.
they survive better in hot weather.
You may be thinking of the YouTuber Schrodinger's cat. Worked in the Navy, I think with nuclear. I think on nuclear reactors. I'm not even kidding. Naval nuclear reactors, and just up and died out of nowhere. Handled SovSid and frauditor kind of stuff. I was slightly involved in that scene for a while with Marvel Girl and the like, but I kind of fell away from it. I was just like, not too much drama after the Virgo Triad crap.
It's still a dog. You didn't create anything.
And then, of course, there was Bill Ludlow passing. That guy's loss was a tragedy to all of us.
They already had this in the gene code. And this example Dave always gives about natural selection and antibiotic resistance is not help for evolution, Dave. All it does is indicate the designer of the bacteria, God, made them have a variety of babies, so some survive no matter what happens, generally.
No. Just no, Kent. No. You can think that all you want, but no. You're just wrong, as always. Fucker.
I tell you what, Dave, I bet if you expose this population of bacteria to 5,000 degrees centigrade, none of them would survive. Right?
Yes, Kent, because physics.
You're exposing bacteria to an antibiotic. Some of the population was already resistant. This isn't evolution. It's not natural selection.
Yes, it is, and yes, it is.
It's a part of the population already existing. I don't know how they don't get it, Joseph. Let's see. Or Dave. Over here. Okay. Speciation, he says, is an observable.
Yes. That is one of the greatest vindicative moments of my childhood, knowing good and well in the future we would have little calculators with us. Just knowing that would happen. Like, for some reason, all of us kids knew that would be the case. And look at us now.
Fact. Oh, got to the wrong one here. guess that was my right here. Okay.
Yeah, welcome, Justin. I'm just glad that I happen to know who you were talking about. I'm like, cats that died. Schrodinger's cat. Had to be it.
That's evolution by natural selection. Speciation.
I don't want to make the joke of we know now whether the cat is alive or dead, but there's a comedic irony in that. But that happens to all of us in the end. So it's been several years, but just throw out a rest in peace, Schrodinger's cat. You were pretty damn kick-ass.
Or the production of new biological species is also an observable fact. We have observed the emergence of new species of microorganisms.
Now, you can look up any one of these he's got on his list. All of these are a variety of an already
Oh, Zuni says she was really good friends with Schrodinger's cat at the time. Still don't know what happened, and I'm not pressing anyone to find out what actually happened. Yeah, I'm just letting it. I was just letting it be just as much. Cause what can you do? It's not our business. They shared their thoughts, elements of their life with us. Provided enjoyable content, good analysis of stuff. Contributed to the greater discussion on these people who think the world operates in some twisted, backwards way from what it does. I mean, they and their family don't owe us anything. So, yeah, don't necessarily need to pressure anyone or anything. It just is what it is, and it just sucks. But, the fact that out of all the random people that could be brought up, he got brought up just by a simple fact of having cat as a part of their name. And us talking about another YouTube creator who has a cat in their name. And us thinking about them immediately shows that they left a lasting impact. And that's the best thing in the end, is that they reached us in the same way we all reach each other in some capacity. If something happens to one of us, all of us are going to feel it. All of us are going to feel that void. And that's the key thing, is keeping people alive in memory in the way you knew them. That way, from your personal point of view, they're never truly gone. That's the way I look at some things. Now I don't want to go back to Hovind, but we have to. Luckily, this one isn't going to be super long because we're going to cut out like half of this.
existing what the Bible would call a kind, okay? Like Great Danes, Chihuahuas, wolves, coyotes, they're the same kind of animal, the dog kind.
Yeah, a smartphone is literally a hand computer. And one of the key things that people need to do, and I wish society would push this, is to remember that it is a computer first, but it happens to be a phone in primary obligatory function by the nature of this tech evolving from the cellular phone concept, the mobile phone concept, I should say. The originally radio operated, standard radio waves, then went to digital, an analog encoding system, cellular, then to digital systems. And then along the way, we decided to pack better and better microcomputers into them. Add a camera, add the ability to show images, browse a basic web interface. And then BlackBerry did their stuff. Next thing you know, Apple pushes out the iPhone, and all of a sudden, holy shit, we've had a revolution. So, yeah, it was an inevitability, but a fascinating one. And again, when you think of them as portable computers rather than phones, things get a lot better. So when I say I'm into phones, I like actual phones, not these things you can't see, but I'm holding up my iPhone right now. Let us continue.
So these are not, so that's what some botanists and stuff do. They'll work really hard to get their rose to produce a whole new species of rose. It's still a rose. That's not evolution. How don't they get it?
Hey, Kent, when we took, what was it? Was it wild mustard? Was it wild broccoli? Whatever it was that we turned into cauliflower and all that other shit. I think it was a wild mustard plant. Are those new kinds, or is it still a mustard? Huh? Which one is it, Hovind?
Let me just get to one. I'll show you here, Dave. I'm trying to help you. Okay. I know you won't listen, okay? But here is, there, speciation. He wants to know, what is a species? Let's see, species. A group of living organisms of similar individuals capable of...
Give me exactly 20 seconds. I'm going to grab another drink. Just a moment. I hate having dead air in a stream, so jump, if you're watching this after the fact, jump ahead a moment till you see Kent rambling again. If you're live, talk amongst yourselves for a moment. In fact, it took longer to explain this than it is for me to actually go grab the drink. So just a moment. I returned. Did Hovind say anything stupid? Oh, probably not, because I had him paused. Because I didn't want to necessarily miss what he might have said this time, since we weren't in the introduction shit.
exchanging genes or interbreeding. This species is a principal natural taxonomic unit, ranking below genus. Got kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay. King Philip came over for Girl Scouts. Is how you memorize.
The fuck? Also, the old taxonomic levels are long obsolesced by many subgenre in those broader categories. So, what you're teaching is not only a little elementary, but also very outdated.
Who cares? Okay. Synonyms.
And there he goes with that who cares, and uh-oh, it says kind. Get the fuck over it, Kent. Welcome to the way synonyms work.
Kind. Dave, look at that. They're calling kind and species and type and sort. The words kind of all mean, something similar. Let's see.
Yes, kind of all mean something similar, i.e., a word that kind of works like species is kind. That doesn't mean that your biblical kind, which is ill-defined, but yet simultaneously does have a definition, is the same thing. This is not the win you think it is, and if you understood linguistics at all, you would understand that it's not.
A kind or sort. Species. Wow. National pornographic. A species. A species is often defined as a group of organisms that can reproduce naturally with one another and create fertile offspring. Now, you got to be careful there. A donkey, a horse, and a donkey, or mule can create a donkey that is then some usually sterile. Not always, but usually. Okay. Classification of species can be difficult, riddled with controversy. Really? Why is that? Huh.
Yeah, something to consider about the breeding thing is that the division for the gametes to be that incompatible, ignoring physical form changes, it takes usually for like typical animals, I think the rate is supposed to be something to like the 5 to definitely about 10 million years. Which is why the various hominid species were able to interbreed without really any issues. Like us with the Homo sapien with Neanderthal, not an issue. The split was way sooner than that. But us and chimpanzees, when I did research out of curiosity, I found that odds are the gametes would generally be unviable no matter how much you forced stuff to happen, because of the 12 plus million year separation between our common ancestor from when we branched off on our own paths. But genetic compatibility outside of that is relatively high, and terrifyingly so. If you were to do some gene splicing at the zygote, like an embryonic level, like a single celled point, could put it in stasis for a while, yeah. But, that's how you come up with the crazy sci-fi shit that I couldn't write in my wildest nightmares. But see, Kent doesn't understand this at all, because of course he rejects the millions of years outright, because of course he has to. But yeah, so you're going to get those morphological changes well before you get to the point where the genomic structure is too different. And even before that, you're going to get to where the gametes are not compatible. So yeah.
See, Webster's dictionary. Species, a kind or a sort. Dave, you and all the atheists make such a big deal out of this. What's a kind? The animals know what kind they are. And keep in mind, most of them don't even know what they look like.
Which is completely fucking irrelevant. Zoomy here with the evolution of tomatoes. The Aztecs started with a sweet little wild berry the size of a chickpea and cultivated them to the beautiful, delicious globes we know today. Sorry, globes we know today. Oh man, I gotta be in the right mood for tomato, but what I do want tomato on my food, oh my god, it's some good eating. And I do like various pasta sauces, which are of course tomato based, but then there's vinegars and other things added in, so it's not pure tomato. But goddamn, is it good?
But they know what to look for in a mate. Isn't that strange? How's that?
And yeah, same thing with the dogs. The difference between domestic cats and African wild cats. Hell, one of the rescue kittens is a little orange one that has spots with stripes. And I had to look up because I was like, that seems a little exotic. And it turns out, no, it's atypical. Various conditions, various criteria for an orange tabby can cause that. It's not as common as some other patterns, but it is actually natural enough, but could be a sign of some just genetic uniqueness in there. Nothing, anything special, but a recessive trait that kind of pop through. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Because for a moment I thought, are you like part wildcat related of some kind? Because I mean, there shouldn't be much hanging around the Memphis area, but stranger shit has happened in this city. So yeah, I learned something from that though.
Let's see. Synonyms for species.
Because
Synonyms. What do you got here? A kind.
Because unlike Kent, I try to learn new things. And Kent, once again, the synonym thing isn't the slam dunk you think it is.
Oh no, there it is, Dave. Look at that. Draw it.
I mean, last I checked, the Bible didn't mention rubrics or ranks and tiers or grades. I mean, come the fuck on, Kent. Welcome to synonyms. Words that are kind of sort of the same general idea.
Focus on it for you. Maybe you'll see it. Okay. Here's biology dictionary.
But when the dictionary defines what evolution is, he rejects that. Let's not ignore that.
Species definition. A group of organisms that share genetic heritage, able to interbreed and create offspring that are fertile. Okay. Let's see. They do not allow for reproduction between the two populations. Scientists have changed the definition of species several times throughout history. Yeah. Changed it. Wow. Bible says.
And then, you go to the opposite end where rice is virtually all like genetically identical. Like there is such little biodiversity in rice, it isn't even funny. But apparently it's okay like that. It's not under too much threat. Unlike banana trees, I should say, banana plants. Yeah. They've got a bit of an issue going on.
They bring forth after their kind. Now, Dave, listen to me. Look at that up at the blue letters up above at the top line. If they can bring forth, they are the same kind. Bring forth the living creature. Bring forth the living creature. It's after his kind, after his kind, after his kind. I believe it's 20 sometimes in the first 7 chapters.
Justin, regarding my chimpanzee comments, didn't stop the Russians from trying. I will quote the end of the song Rasputin. Oh, those Russians.
I think I was trying to get a message across. Yeah, 20 times. After their kind. Can they bring forth after their kind? Okay.
Ooh, Kent, kill is in the Bible like 500 times. You think God's trying to get a message across with that? Because by your logic, he's trying to get one hell of a message across.
Pretty clear. Kind. It's all through the Bible. Okay. Here we go. Citable by nature education. A biological group species is a group of organisms that can reproduce one another in nature and produce fertile offspring. Species are characterized by the fact that they are reproductively isolated from other groups.
Oh, Big Bad Mama, it doesn't surprise me that much, and here's why. If the man went on 300 dates, each date was with a single girl, and they did not want to have another date with him, and they most certainly did not want to do with this man. So, and honestly, bragging about that, what that tells me is that Joe Hovind was the best he could get. That's what that tells me. So, in a weird way, he is insulting the fuck out of his first wife. Now, I don't know if he told that story while they were still together before he was arrested, or, if it's only been after the fact, because he's gotten weirder as time has gone on. But to me, that's just insulting your wife right there. Even if you're divorced now, it's still insulting the woman.
Yeah, our donkeys up there cannot interbreed with the cows. Okay, they don't even try. Not even interested. The term species can also be defined as the most basic category in the system of taxonomy. Let's see, species can be defined based on shared evolutionary history. This is pure baloney. They probably had to put that in there to get their government grant to get the book published or whatever that was, okay?
Ew, and good point from Archexion. I'd presume that's how you pronounce it. When I see a Z, I don't know for sure if I should pronounce, or an X, I don't know for sure if I should pronounce it with the proper Z sound or not. But given the E is there, Ixion, Ezion. Either way, cool name. If they can bring forth they are the same kind, ring species appears. But they're still the same kind. Exactly. Hence kind being defined, but being loosely defined and not in a proper way.
Species, nature.com. Biological species are a group of organisms that can reproduce with one.
Laura, okay, so I forget the exact names. I know someone in the chat's going to know. But you know that artificial banana flavoring that's really good? That's what the predominant type of banana previously used to taste like, but it's effectively extinct. And what happened is a particular disease of some type um, ravaged the crops. But it's okay. We had engineered another variant of banana, not as flavorful, but that is what managed to take hold and was resistant to this disease. And that's the bananas we have today. But they share the same problem of a particular mutation in one of the things that plague them is likely to wipe them out as well. And it is believed that that mutation has happened. It hasn't become a pandemic yet in the banana crops, but they are extremely susceptible to being eradicated by something pretty straightforward. Or would seem pretty straightforward otherwise. So the problem with bananas is they're a little bit too inbred. I mean, if you ever notice bananas are seedless, that's intentional because we actually, had part of our breeding process was to get the seeds out completely. Kind of screwed the pooch on that one. It's complicated. I don't know all the details, but yeah, that's the gist of bananas.
Another in nature. Oh, okay. Right. That's what a kind does too. Okay. Scientific American, what's a species? To this day, scientists struggle with that question. Dave, you keep wondering what's a kind. Okay, tell me what's a species exactly. Give me the correct definition. Because
a species in a broad sense is accurately defined by the text you have shown. However, when to differentiate between one species and another can be a tricky matter because the nuances aren't always clear, and criteria for denoting species for one broad spectra of organism, like your typical animal, can be vastly different from doing so with a fungus. So various criteria have to be come up with that properly differentiate these various organisms in a way that works for the type of organism that it is. It's just like why you use different weights and measurements for different things. You don't give the distance to a place in pounds. You don't give the weight of your ass every morning in fucking miles, you use a proper measurement, a proper criteria. It's the same idea, just one for more abstract logic versus definite units or definite quanta to be measured. Same idea.
the debate over species definition is far from over. Mm-hmm. Still struggling with what is a species. Okay. Embarrassment.
I put my hand on my cheek and show these random little things and just try to manipulate this stuff because that's all I can fucking do. Wow.
Definitions. It comes as a surprise to see scientists struggling to agree on something so basic as how to define that a group of organisms form a species. Perhaps it is the Latin that gives species names the whiff of absolute certainty.
Okay, I was overthinking a bit. Dark Exion saying, or Arc Exion saying, Dark Exion does sound pretty cool. Don't worry, I don't know how to pronounce my name either. That is the best when you come up with something so cool, even you are just like, I don't know.
Perhaps it's the 1.8 million species that scientists have named in the past few centuries. See, atheists will take that number and say Noah couldn't fit that many on the ark. Well, that's correct. You don't need a dog, a wolf, a coyote, a dingo, or all the other different dog kinds of animals in the world. You just need a basic pair of dog kind, and they might, after the flood in the next 4,500 years, produce all these.
Chris from Rick Talk with a banger. The problem with bananas is they get fondled by Ray Comfort and Kirk Cameron. That's why those two are not allowed in Walmart at the same time. Oddly enough, Target has no problem with them being there.
Varieties we see today. I think there's 11 species of wolves. I mean, to have the number right, but something like that.
More than that, buddy boy.
Okay, they're still a wolf. Still the dog kind. They just don't want to get it. Okay. There is no general agreement among biologists on what species are, says Marshall Johnson, biologist at Southern Utah University. At last count, there were 26 published concepts.
Hey. I've seen some smart rocks. They beat Hovind in a test. Quite literally.
Concepts in circulation. 26 different definitions of species. Dave, you're going to blabber about what is a kind, okay? The Bible says they will bring forth after their kind. That's all that's ever happened. But you want to believe and make other people believe that an amoeba turned into a whale over billions of generations. They changed kind.
No one but you says that. Because the common ancestor to effectively all life on this planet, as depicted in your chart, or as what is being represented in your chart, was not an amoeba. An amoeba is an existing creature currently. Existing type of organism, representative of some of the simplest life we currently have on Earth. As opposed to the very earliest self-replicating molecules that you would not even really recognize as life, but would meet all the criteria. But you, with that dumbfounded look on your face, congratulations, that's your fucking thumbnail for this video. And look, I just noticed that Pope Dan's moved again. They keep on shifting the angle. It's like, good God, just leave the camera set somewhere. Fuck, I forgot what I was saying about Dr. Dumbass. You suck.
You wanted people to believe these stupid charts.
Oh, right, the amoeba. The earliest ancestors were not anything close to an amoeba. And again, you don't even understand what life actually is, because if I do debate you, and we do get into something biological rather than based in physics and astronomy. I seriously want to ask you, are viruses alive? Yes or no, by the definition of life as you understand it.
You guys published this family tree with everything related. This isn't science. This is a propaganda post.
Yeah, he does. Yet when people tell him he thinks evolution is just one animal popping out another or directly changing into something, he says he doesn't. Which means he knows he's lying.
All it is. The amoeba or bacteria, protozoa, whatever you want to start with, a single-cell creature, slowly became everything. Dave, they changed to a new kind and a new species. Is a whale the same species as, let's see, a frog?
Notice that you have to go all the way from over there to over there, but the things get muddy as you were to go through those branches. And what's funny is you have life, you have animals, you have, oh, look, mammals. And oh, look, there's the branch with birds. And dinosaurs would be down there over here. And oh, you got these plants and these fungi and all kinds of shit that all form nice little nested hierarchies. Almost as if that's how this stuff actually is.
No. Well, they got to both have lines connected to the back to the common ancestor. You guys will not admit you have a religion.
There you go. Who called it earlier? There's the religion claim. And no, Kent, it's not a religion. And anyone who is just directly answering your questions will acknowledge that all life is related. So picking two random ass points is a dishonest tactic to make stuff look stupid to your dim-witted followers, because that's the only argument you have is, at first glance, this looks dumb because we don't understand a goddamn thing about anything because we're creationist fucking morons who don't know a damn thing, can't even wipe our own asses, we're so stupid. Hey, Joseph, come wipe my ass again. I think you missed a spot.
So, because as soon as you admit it's just a religion, you believe it. Now you lose your tax funding, don't you?
That's not how anything works. You're just being a lying piece of shit as usual. Also, believing something doesn't make it a religion. It's a little more than that. Also, beliefs aren't active. They're passive insofar as you don't choose what you do and don't believe. Something either fits right with you or it doesn't. Also, a claim of conspiracy. Because that's all you have in your arguments, truly. I joke about the mockery and stuff, but it boils down to that, this claim of conspiracy. Because for some reason, everyone denying reality, that's their go-to. Probably because reality points in the other direction. Everything is fucking conspiracy. Here's a pro tip for you, and if this caused me to lose a few people, I don't know. I think everyone's pretty smart, but I was surprised when I had first hung out with somebody and learned they were a 9/11 conspiracist. That should have been a big red flag that they were a problem. But I decided to go against my gut instinct. So let it be known that that's an immediate red flag for me now, on top of all the other red flags I've got for any interactions with people. I'm very picky about friends.
That's the real problem. Money. Okay. Species. Let's see. Linnaeus, let's see. Two species of mice might interbreed where their ranges overlapped, raising the question of what name to give the hybrids. Well, proof frustrating. Yeah, sure is. Within a species, there was confusion as well.
Yeah, Laura, your PhD in Lego is real. I've seen it.
The willow ptarmigan in Ireland has life.
Oh yeah, Marty, have fun with the D&D. You know this stream will be there when you get back. Here's the chat working. Oh, it's our friend Pluto Pilot. I was about to laugh, and it's like, oh, no, chat is working. Which means Joseph put that up. He picked that. That's funny. And yeah, there you go, Rochester. You called it. I mean, Kent is pretty predictable. We can all guess what he's going to do, but to nail it that quickly, to just be right there on the spot. And speaking of Pluto Pilot / Tyler, there he is. Only clade we share with an amoeba is that we're both eukaryotes. Bingo! He said religion. Got a bingo! Everybody calling it. How was his bit with Arnra? Give two close related animals, mentions animals in a tree or something like that? Exactly. Yeah, it was a whale and a pine tree. Or no, pine trees and elephants. That was it. Pine trees and elephants. Although whale came up as well. So you're not wrong. Short time scale, that tanks young earth creationism and what he clings to with a death grip. Exactly. Neighbors thought birds were fake. That's wild. Rochester with the math for radiometric dating is ironclad, and either Kent doesn't understand it or he just doesn't care, or both. I'm betting both. Yeah. And as I was mentioning earlier, their rejection of radiometric dating is, and just the decay of radioisotopes is funny when they also claim that the universe is fine-tuned for life, and that any changing of these constants is like, but to decry that radioactive decay isn't what we know it to be would require those values also to have changed. Someone mucking with the variables, which would have also resulted in the disintegration of most everything based on the forces that need to change. Porque no los dos? Fortunately, I don't know anyone who thinks that. Good, good. Reactionaries are broken records. Yeah. And we come back as the stream completely decays.
Who cares? Do they care? See, you guys, the animals don't even know we're
The creatures' ability to understand whether or not we're classifying them is completely fucking irrelevant. Like, beyond irrelevant. Anyone can see how stupid you are for bringing this up because, one, if that was a factor in the validity of anything, it would defeat the idea of your kind's concept as well. But you wouldn't have it do that. But two, again, we're classifying them based off their demonstrable traits, their properties as observed. For benefits of understanding them better, differentiating, being able to know what a person means when they say a cow versus a badger. You know, if I tell you to go milk the cow and you don't know what a cow is and you try to milk a badger, there's going to be problems. Now, where the hell you came across a badger, I don't know. It seems unlikely for two to be hanging out at the same time, but I'm just saying it's the first thing that came to mind. So there.
doing this
Ugh, I stared right at the nussy.
to them. They don't care that we're doing it. You turn them all loose in the woods, they know what to look for in a mate, don't they? Who cares how we classify them? They know.
But why are you so obsessed with this then? Who cares how they classify them? Okay, then stop caring about how they're classified. See how that works out for you.
Let's see. Naturalists could not agree about whether they belong to different ptarmigan species. In other words, they probably got a government grant to do a bunch of research on something so stupid as this. Okay. Darwin, for one, was amused by the struggles. It's really laughable to see what different ideas are prominent in various naturalist minds when they speak of species. Darwin.
And a very good point, Justin. If we found ourselves in a universe that can't support us, would be better evidence of a god than any fine tuning does. And of course, that's ignoring the fact that we obviously would live in a universe that would be promoting of our ability to exist, because otherwise we wouldn't exist to question it. It's like when I don't know how many of you have ever gotten into issues with a family or something, or know of these cases where people will be like, you know, would you rather not have been born? It's like, what kind of question is that? You know, I wouldn't know. I don't exist. So it's an irrelevant thought experiment. You know, they try to use it as some point against like a kid who doesn't like how their parents are treating them because the parents are a piece of shit. You know, they're abusive ass fucks. And it's like, would you rather not be born? It's like, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I'm here. I wouldn't know if I wasn't here. Same idea on a grander scale. I don't know. That one always stuck out with me. Even as a kid, I had that thought for, sadly, reasons you can understand.
Wrote 1856. It all comes, I believe, from trying to undefinable, indefinable. You can't. There's no good definition of it. Darwin said. Okay. Darwin said, species is all comes to believe from trying to define the indefinable. Meanwhile, other varieties become extinct. The old variety ends up markedly different from all other organisms. Okay. I look at the term species as one arbitrarily given for the sake of convenience to a set of individuals closely resembling each other.
Yeah. At that point in time, that was kind of the purpose it served. Also, that's like 160, 180 years ago, Kent. 170, I don't know. I don't fucking care. It was well over a century ago, Kent. I don't really give a fuck what Darwin had to say. Like, in the grand scheme, I don't fucking care. I have to stress that again, because once again, you think Darwin was some kind of prophet or messiah or something because everything has to be religiously motivated in your universe. Nothing exists outside of religion. Don't fucking care about Darwin.
Darwin declared. It's a convenient term to use, just like kind is a convenient term. Bring them after their kind. Ask a 3-year-old, put an elephant and a cow and a banana in front of them. Are these the same kind? No, they're 3 years old. They already know. But strawberry.
Okay. Um. Ooh, let's put a leopard. Let's put on screen pictures of a leopard, a hyena, a wild dog of whatever type you pick. Let's just go with those three and ask them which two are more closely related. You'd be surprised what the truth is, Kent. You'd be very surprised, and the kid would probably get it wrong.
Dave still can't figure it out. Ernst Mayr boldly declared that species was not convenient labels, but real entities, like mountains of people. 1942, he defined a species as a gene pool, a set of
Yes, Kent. 1942. Let's bring up what people said 83 fucking years ago. Let's just ignore what people are saying right fucking now who actually do the science in this stuff. I don't give a fuck about Ernest Mayr. Also, is 1942 Ernest Mayr a German ornithologist? So, just double checking person who studies birds. Kent, are you citing literal Nazis now? They just double check. Ernst Mayr, German American biologist. Okay, let me see. When did he move to the United States? Okay, in 1931. Okay, so he was an American citizen by that point. He had been here for 12 years. So, okay, scratch that. It's just they happen to bring up him being German, not German American. Gotta monitor that stuff because you guys are pretty Nazi adjacent, and by that I mean you're balls deep in swastika land and won't even and can't even acknowledge it with yourselves because you're so fucking deluded. But still, I don't give a fuck what someone 83 years ago had to say about science that's being studied to fucking day. Okay? Okay.
population. Oh, there it is. 1942. They still don't know. Defining a species, often defined as a group of individuals that actually or potentially interbreed in nature. In this sense, a species is the biggest gene pool possible under natural conditions. Okay, look at these happy face spiders. They look different, but since they can interbreed, they're considered the same species. Who'd have thunk it? Definition of species might seem cut and dried, but it's not. In nature, there are a lot of places where it's difficult to apply the definition. The definition of species as a group of interbreeding animals cannot be easily applied to organisms that reproduce only or mainly asexually. In other words, they don't have to have partners. Like they can just
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner with Justin on the cat, hyena, and wild dog construct. Because, yeah, the cat and the hyena are more closely genetically related, even though by physical appearance, hyenas look more like dogs because they serve the same scavenger role. See, and even in nature, form follows function. And so that's one reason why we have repetitions, like the crocodilomorph has evolved countless times. That form of crocodile/alligator body plan. Other primitive creatures fill the roles of horses, fill the roles of apex predators as we think of them, like the big cats. And hyenas, being a derivative of the early branch of felids, that happen to be scavengers rather than primary hunters. So they developed scavenger like forms, which also happen to be the role that wolves play. Well, more of the branch that we evolved or bred the modern dogs from. The branch is because wolves can and will be predators where necessary, but they are efficient scavengers. And of course, as we know, the dog form also their ancestors also developed into bears, which the resemblance is very noticeable, and seals, which is a little less noticeable until you take a close look and realize, holy shit, they're water puppies. And that just makes you love them more. I fucking love seals. Y'all have no idea. But let's continue with Hovend.
divide themselves in half, those kind, okay? Let's see. There are several kinds of crows. The hooded crow and the carrion crow are different species, but they can interbreed and produce a baby. Wow, guess what? There's still a crow. 10 species of heavy-billed dark birds, larger than crow. Closely related, both ravens and...
Yep, you can, as Rochester puts it here, you can count on a reactionary like Kent to refer to outdated and discredited sources. And yeah, I remember R and Raw did bring that up as a little gotcha. I had learned it when I was younger because I was fascinated in hyenas and was amazed to learn that. And that was a point where I realized you can't always trust your eyes in that regard and just your initial instincts. And that was one of those formative moments. So remember, I was born in '85, so I was 93. I was like summer of '93, so I was like 8 years old roughly when Lion King came out. So hyenas playing a big role and the characterizations being entertaining, even though they were the comedic adversaries. I got to do a bit of a thing with hyenas, and I learned what I needed to learn, and learning they were related to closely related to the big cats than they were dogs was fascinating to me. And like I said, taught me that you can't just trust the first observations.
And crows are species of the genus Corvus. Again, the animals absolutely don't care that we're doing this. They don't even know. They bring forth after their kind the heron, after his kind the locust, the bald locust, the beetle, the grasshopper, the tortoise. We got what, 5 tortoises here now. How many varieties of heron are there? 72 species of herons. Wow. Guess what? It's still a bird. Okay. It doesn't.
On this question about hyenas being obligate carnivores, ChatGPT pops up. Short version: yes, hyenas are obligate carnivores, but they're also highly opportunistic ones. Uh, Hyenidae and 3 of the 4 are indeed obligate carnivores. They rely on animal tissue. However, they're not strict predators, of course, in the sense of eating only fresh kills. Spotted and brown hyenas are scavengers and hunters, eating carrion, bones, organs, occasionally fruits if available. The plant matter is incidental, not nutritionally essential. Digestive systems are strongly adapted for meat and bone. Exception is the aardwolf, which is the oddball of the family, mostly eats termites, making it an insectivore, but still technically an obligate carnivore since his diet is entirely animal-based, just very small animals. So effectively, yes, they have to consume meat. If you try to feed a hyena with vegetarian options without the particular proteins and stuff properly introduced, they'll die. So that is another fascinating piece. Very fascinating. And of course, a creature that's an omnivore, like dogs would be, yeah, they qualify as omnivore, although they still probably would prefer meat. And certainly humans and such, depending on the specimen, a vegetarian or quote unquote vegan diet will suffice. But obligate carnivores, no dice. And that again depends on the individual because obviously our systems are equipped to process a healthy mix of both, literally a healthy mix of both. So, for some people, for example, who don't do well on vegan diets, they're genetically predisposed to need meats and the way those are brought more, processed by the system more than someone who does okay on a quote unquote vegan diet. So, it depends on the person. And that's why I do not choose to go vegan, even though I can agree with some of the ethical arguments for it. I need my meat. I need it. Just end of the day, I know. So that's all there is to it. That's the kind of creature I am the evolutionary heritage of, an omnivore. So that's the way I'm going to do. And my kitties, they get meat. I ain't about to starve them, deprive them of what they need.
Improve is related to a whale, even over trillions of years. It doesn't. You guys don't get it, but I like laughing at you because this is real stupid.
Leopard seals are. They're a little special. I still like them, but they're leopard seals. You just give them their space. And fuck you, Hovind. We laugh at you because you're an absolute idiot.
Stupid. You laugh at the flat earthers, and you should. I do too. But you need laughed at for believing.
Need laughed at. There you go with his grammatical bullshit. Need to be laughed at, you fucking idiot. Also, Kent, it's funny that you mock flat earthers, yet you have flat earthers following and defending you. One of them did today in my other stream. I hope to fuck I don't have any flat earthers following me. Although, that wouldn't bother me near as much as being another type of conspiracy theorist, as mentioned before.
A whale is related to a banana, and you are related to a strawberry. You need laughed at for that, Dave. Okay. 2 of every sort no one brought onto the ark. 2 of every, after their kind, after their kind, after their kind. Every beast after his kind.
Yeah, that's a serious thing. Kent can whine about the stuff all he likes, but other ape species display all of our behavior, sans written language, and using tools to create fire. Yet. But they use tools for all kinds of other things. And shit, we might not have picked up on some messages that could very well be an equivalency of something being written. It just depends on how hardline we want to be about the idea of an engraved message in the sense of something written. It just makes you fucking think. Like, where do we really define this concept? You know, but we obviously are connected with those apes because they are very intelligent. And then other creatures that don't have the same appendages as us, like dolphins, super fucking intelligent. Dolphins get high off pufferfish venom. It's fucking crazy. Dolphins got drug addictions, yo. You gotta be super smart to get a fucking figure out, hey, I enjoy the feeling of this shit. I'm gonna keep on going. Because you kind of need the higher processes to be able to numb to enjoy those kinds of things. So it's crazy. Life is fucking amazing. There's a bonobo that watched videos about cooking and worked out how to use a grill to cooked food, more efficient use of digestion, and then showed his son to do the same. Fascinating. Fascinating. I've got to check that out. And yes, Grunwalde, he is incredibly butthurt over Dave clowning on him all those years ago. And the more recent case where Hovind fit the top bill as the worst person he's ever interacted with. That was great right there. Richard rang him as a theory about human evolution being tied to the use of fire to cook. It most definitely is something I can get behind. That is a theory I'd like to see fully looked into, because it definitely played a role.
I mean, this is in the flood story. Apparently,
I mean, how hard could it possibly be for us to figure out, hey, this animal that was struck by lightning, the parts of it that were heated taste kind of good, and start to figure out, well, maybe we can do this with fire. You know, lightning hot, lightning start fire, maybe use fire. I don't know. It's just an idea.
God wanted us to get some kind of message here. The fellows of the baser sort. Huh. In other words, people that were, lewd fellows of the baser sort.
Oh, you mean you?
There are some people that you can lump them together. They're lewd, crude, crass, mean. You know, that's the sort of people they are. Is that what phrase we use?
Yes, Hovind. I am a rude dude. Thank you.
Biological
1991 called. They want their slang against people back.
species. What is a simple definition? A species, there, a group of organisms that can reproduce with one another
A species there.
in nature and produce fertile offspring. Nature.com. See, Merriam-Webster.
Cooked food is much easier to digest, gives us way more time to do stuff versus having to gather more and eat. Also, doesn't it cause particular proteins to change our bond differently? And those prove beneficial because they're basically pre-processed, so we don't have to waste the energy on doing the conversion of them ourselves or something. And there's so much to cooking food in that principle. It is incredible. I haven't had the chance to really research into it. Notice there's been about 18 seconds of Professor Dave and about millions of Hovind just going blah, blah, blah. Yeah, totally. I mean, I've been talking a lot in these streams and generally talk a lot in my streams. But Hovind takes the cake of percentage of him talking versus the original content. I try to get through all of Hovind's bullshit.
A group of similar living things that ranks below genus in scientific classification, made up of individuals able to reproduce offspring with one another. Species is defined the largest group of organisms in which any two individuals of the appropriate sexes, that's not true in San Francisco anymore, okay, or mating type.
Oh, piss off, you bigoted fuckwit. By the way, Kent, this'll piss you off. I'm always on the lookout for more friends, more people who will actually be decent and I can trust. And you know what group I really want and need more friends in? I've got plenty of straight friends. I've got a few gay friends. But I need more gay friends. And I need more trans friends. You know why? because I've noticed they tend to be pretty great fucking people. I don't know why. They just do. Now, you might be shocked to hear that I don't seek more Christian friends, but you can literally throw a rock in any direction and hit a Christian in this country. You're not an endangered species there, buddy. But I've run into plenty of bullshit people who are Christians, plenty of bullshit people who are atheists, plenty of bullshit people all around. But I just wanted to bring up that for some reason, most of the time, when I do meet somebody who's gay or trans, the kind of people you want to talk such shit about because they're not like you, they seem to be great people. So if I had to pick between some old bigoted piece of shit or one of them weirdos from San Francisco you want to talk about, send my ass to Central California. Well, it's not central, it's still the coast, but y'all know what I mean. It's halfway up. It's near the valley, near Sunnyvale and stuff. Just let me go there. I can enjoy all the computer history that's been changed out. I can go to that shop where Steve Jobs sold the first Apple and be like, "Yeah, I'm standing out in front of the place," and then get told to leave. But seriously, your bigotry really pisses me off there, Kent. That amongst your constant other bullshit. Just shut your goddamn ass up.
Can produce fertile offspring. Britannica. Biology, classification comprising related organisms that share common characteristics and are capable of interbreeding. Okay. How many of horses are there? Wow.
Word by word. You've got it, Tyler.
350 breeds of horses are currently recognized around the world. Guess what? They're still a horse. You know, four-wheel drive, leather upholstery, biodegradable exhaust. Yeah. They're all the same kind of animal. Okay. The fact that there are 350 varieties of horses does not prove horses and humans and birds and turtles and ladybugs and pine trees and worms have a common ancestor. This is stupid.
Zoomy, I actually don't get the reference. I mean, Sunnyvale's the right place, right? Sunnyvale, California? You know, where Atari was, right? Let me pull back a bit. Yeah, there's Los Altos, there's Sanford, there's Half Moon Bay, there's Fremont, Livermore. Yeah, Los Gatos, there's San Francisco down there. There's Berkeley. Yeah, Berkeley. Where's the area that Palo Alto? There's Sunnyvale, there's Palo Alto, Los Altos Hills, Trilla Valley, Wooddale, Menlo Park, Palo Alto, there it is. Yeah, that whole area where the computer boom of the late 70s was. Oh my god, that's like actually I think that's out in the area where Rosina is, but that's like a fucking mecca for a nerd like me. Y'all can kind of know, but y'all don't understand one how much I love like classic Atari stuff, but also old computers and stuff. Ah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Thank you. I did not get the reference. That's one of those bits of pop culture that I did not get attached to. So yeah, that's just the sphere of influence where I know nothing except that it's got a cool fan base. I'll give it that. Ken is in the group that leans hard towards the Gish Gallop. It's like he thinks word count is the way to win a debate. Yeah. And yet he accuses us of doing that when we simply bring up facts.
Yep. Okay. Headphones.
Oh, good. Here we go. So I'm not going to knock this guy too much, but as you can see from the preview, it's just some random dude who calls in, and he doesn't argue with Kent. He is like a supporter.
Yeah. I think we got who's that one that guy from Finland, the sniper during World War II that shot like 500 people. He's a mighty.
And for some reason that's being brought up. I don't know, but I don't actually care what this dude has to say. And then Kent goes into the Q&A, the textual Q&A. And I know there's some questions of interest in there, but honestly, it is almost, 7:57. It's almost 8 o'clock. So I'm going to call this one here. We've had fun. We hit the key points. There really isn't much else of anything to say. We whacked Holland again. That's just how it works. Like I said, Guild Wars 2 expansion drops on Tuesday, so when I get off work, I'm going to be so itching to play that. I don't really have much else planned. I already mentioned my political manifesto. Basically, I'm going to start writing that. I still got some other things I want to do, things to work on. I haven't forgotten about or given up on condensing my summary of the rise and fall of the Soviet Union, the original ideals versus what actually happened and what went wrong. I intend on covering that. And so many other little things. I just am losing track of time. We're coming up on fourth quarter. I work retail. Things are about to get fucking crazy. In fact, I'm pretty sure at the end, by the end of the week, Friday is Christmas. It's Halloween, and that's when the Christmas music will start playing right in the middle of the day. So by the end of the week, I'm going to be hearing 12 different versions of "All I Want for Christmas" and wanting to fucking well, you know. So the classic jokes about killing yourself because you work retail. But seriously, I'll be fine. I've got a lot going on. I've had a lot going on. People hadn't made things easy. But I'm open with you, my audience, my friends, because I know y'all actually care. Y'all are open with me. And we all just try to, I can't believe I'm going to say this in this phrasing, but uplift each other in some way, provide support, provide that emotional connection of like, we're all in the struggle together. We'll overcome all this bullshit. So that being said, everyone who's here live, thank you. Everyone who watches this after the fact, thank you as well. You're all awesome. You know, do the usual things like comment, if you're new, subscribe, all that crap. Hit links below for all the other crazy stuff I work on. There's a lot of it. And yeah, I am going to catch all of you next time. Much love and see y'all later. Just make sure. Oh yeah, I should bring up Roger Swift's comments here, and all your comments and little questions and stuff are great. Like Outer Worlds 2 dropping and all that stuff. It's fucking awesome. Uh, people liking Charmed, and yeah, Rosina's in Sunnyvale. Hey Rosina, how you doing? Great to hear from you. With your close ties to Apple, I just put and mentioning California and the housing costs being crazy. I put 2 and 2 together and came up with something other than 5 for once. But before I go, Rochester points out, has anyone ever bothered to tell Kent that we've only been digging for fossils for 2 centuries at best, where there's been hundreds of millions of years worth of fossils to find? Yeah, a very good point. Very good point. But yeah, you're all awesome. Absolutely love you. Stay safe out there.